Welcome back to In the Can. We're going to be talking about the film that a lot of people are talking about. It's The Interrupters with award-winning director and producer Steve James, and the subject of this film, Amina Matthews. Thank you both for coming in. I was surprised that you were here, but happily surprised.
Well, thank you for having us.
It's wonderful. I've only seen a few clips of the film so far, but when I watched these clips and I saw you in action, I thought, I need to meet this woman. I mean, you're really a powerful, energetic spirit in the film, and I've heard that a lot of people have just really
very much
fallen in love.
Wow. Thank you.
People are tweeting about that.
Really?
Yes.
I'm going to have to learn how to, I'll have to ask my 9-year-old how to tweet.
They'll teach you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they will.
They taught me to text.
Yeah.
So,
Steve, this film is set in Chicago, a documentary about the Interrupters.
Right.
And tell us more about the film.
Well, we spent a year following these interrupters, violence interrupters, Amina, Kobe, and Eddie. And they work for an organization called Ceasefire, which tries to mediate crises, violent crises in the street. They try to stop things on the front end before they can turn violent, or if they are violent, they try to prevent retaliations. They all come from these communities. They have a rapport and an ability to get in and deal with those situations. And so it's this, terrific opportunity in the film to sort of capture Chicago in the midst of a crisis in youth violence, and at the same time be inspired by these guys and the work that they do trying to help in the community. And we also learn their backstories about how they came to do this work and how redemptive it is for them.
I think this type of documentary where you set out, you never know what footage you're going to get. You're committed for the year, but you really don't know what you're going to end up with at the end of the year.
I love that.
Yeah, it's very challenging, but luckily, you had great characters and lots of drama happening. So what surprised you most about the things that you saw and were able to capture?
I think the single most surprising thing about doing this film was how inspirational it ended up being. I mean, we went in wanting to grapple with this issue of urban violence. Two of the people that were main characters in Hoop Dreams have been murdered since we made that film. For Alex Kotlowitz, my partner on this film, same deal with his book that he wrote. And so, but meeting these guys and seeing the work they do and see how effective they are and how much they care about it it's just plain inspiring. And that's been a great thing that people have been saying coming out of the movie is that they went in expecting it to be intense and violent, and there is that in there, but they came out being inspired.
Wonderful. Well, let's take a quick look at the Interrupters. I think this is a clip that shows you in action. So let's take a quick look.
Can I just say,
yes.
just to set it up, Amina is at a vigil for a young kid named Corey McLaren who was murdered, and then she notices some of Corey's friends coming up, and they are angry and wanting to retaliate for his murder.
All right. That was a very, very quick look at the movie Interrupters. What does this mean to you to see that?
Oh, wow. It's overwhelming. It means, it means a lot for people to see what goes on in the inner city, what goes on in the ghetto, and those are real life human beings. And the little boy, when the little boy that was standing next to me, he was like 10 years old, and he was out there with all of those guys that were amongst the life, and they were ready to retaliate. And I asked them, I said, who does this kid belong to? Because I asked him a question about how long is my dad locked up? How many hours a day is my dad locked up? I asked the whole crowd. This 9-10-year-old answered the question. He answered it, looked me in my eyes. No one else answered it but this baby. So he knew what's going on in the streets. And it just blew me away because I have 9-year-olds. And that's something that I try to shield them away from a little bit because I know where my life ended up. And I know what happened with me, and I know what's happening with those guys out there. And I'm just really so grateful of Steve and Alex's persistency, the stalking that they put on me night and day.
It's a compliment, Steve.
To get this done. And I'm just so honored and I'm humbled to be here and talk to you about it. It breaks my heart at the same time, but I'm praying and I'm hoping that something great comes from this, and I'm just so honored to be here.
Well, we're honored to get to talk to you both. I wish that we had more time. We've got to wrap up the show here, but thank you both for coming in, and everybody get out there and see The Interrupters. It looks fantastic. We'll be back with more In the Can right after this. Really?